Breaking news here on NFL Black Monday. Chicago Bears now coming at you. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace have been fired by the Chicago Bears. Adam Schefter had the initial note of Nagy being out. He broke that at 8:18 this morning, and we're breaking it down within the hour for you guys. Later, we got the news of Ryan Pace. We'll focus on Pace later on in the show, but we're going to start with the head coach, Matt Nagy, because that's where all the fire has been around over the last several weeks. Give me your one-word reaction to Matt Nagy being fired by the Chicago Bears. I want to hear it from you guys down in the comments. What is your one-word reaction to the Bears getting rid of Matt Nagy? Go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the comments. My one word is finally. Finally. Not just for Nagy, but for Pace as well. I mean, it's time for change in Chicago. This fan base deserves better. Justin Fields deserves a different direction in this coaching staff. It was time to make a change at head coach and at GM. I'm glad they didn't take half measures, because when organizations either fire only the GM or the head coach, then you get stuck in this thing like, oh, we'll bring back the GM, but if the team sucks next year, then we'll fire him. And then you pair the new GM with the coach that wasn't brought in with the other GM, and then it just becomes this huge awkward thing. So finally is my one word, but also excited. I'm excited for the future, man. And look, Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, they're classy guys. They're good family men. They are good individuals. This is not, a celebration at their expense. This is a celebration for the Chicago Bears' future. It had to be done. I wish those guys nothing but the best. I think they both have good attributes, and I think they'll get opportunities in the future. But for the Bears right now, and the time is now, this had to happen. Changes had to come, and that is exactly what has occurred in Chicago. Subscribe to the channel, because the Bears offseason, our coverage is going to be lit. It's already lit here on Bears Now. Hit that subscribe button, link below if you want to share it with a friend. If you're watching live, we got over 1,000 people watching, and I know that not all of you guys have subscribed to the channel. So subscribe right now. Don't miss any of it, and we will continue to break down things this offseason. Coaching search, GM search, free agency, draft. It's all going to ramp up here, so hit that subscribe button and join the movement for free daily videos. All right, let's start with Matt Nagy, talk about him a little bit more. He is out after 4 seasons as the head coach, and I think when it comes down to it, a disappointing 2021 ultimately led to a change. I think last year George McCaskey considered making the move he made this year and firing both Pace and Nagy, decided to bring them both back after a uninspiring, playoff run last year, sneaking in at 8-8. But when it comes down to it, especially for Nagy, 2021 was a disappointment, and the offense never took off after 2018. We'll kind of outline that here in a little bit as well. Nagy's tenure overall, this is really what it comes down to. 12-4, Coach of the Year. Sure, you lose in the wild card round, but we all thought this team is going to take off. This team is going to run the NFC North. It didn't work out that way. It's almost like when the Cody Parkey double doink happened, it just changed destiny. Like, it just wasn't meant to be after that. A couple of 8-8 seasons, then, of course, 6-11 this year. He finishes 34-31 overall. Certainly not bad. 2 playoff appearances above 500, but 2018 was the peak. He regressed, and his team regressed under his leadership the past 3 seasons. It's just as simple as that. You take out the first season, this team's 5 games under 500 in the regular season, and he never won a playoff game. This is Chicago, man. This isn't Jacksonville. This isn't Miami. This isn't Cincinnati. Like, you got to win, man. You got to win in Chicago. Otherwise, changes are going to happen. And the team regressed under Matt Nagy's leadership. And it's just unfortunate at the end of the day that he has to go after 4 seasons. But it's the right move. There's no doubt about that. We've been telling you guys for a month, if not more, that this is going to happen, barring, an unforeseen change and thought processing from the McCaskey family. And we've come to this decision here on Monday, that being the McCaskeys. They have moved on from Matt Nagy. Is this the right one here, Trace, coming up here on the show as we continue to break down the news? Here we go. Grade the Matt Nagy era, A, B, C, D, or F. It's so hard. I mean, it's like a D plus, right? C minus. It wasn't a total disaster, but at the end of the day, it wasn't good enough. I'd probably go D plus, C minus. After year one, it was an A. You're thinking, oh my God, the Bears have their coach for the next 15 years, and obviously it did not play out that way. Get your grades in. Grade the Matt Nagy era in Chicago. And his ultimate demise was he was brought in here to fix the offense. And you look at the regression. We talk about the regression in wins and losses. Year one, 21st in total offense. For year one, you're like, okay, Mitch Trubisky's first full year as a starter, not bad. With the defense you got, that's certainly good enough to make a run. And I truly believe had Parkey made that kick, they might have made a run that year. But then you look at the regression, 29th. Slight uptick in 2020 at 26th in the NFL, but then this year it goes back down, 28th in total offense, which is yards per game. Scoring offense, which is the most important, points. Again, year one, 26 points a game. That's pretty solid. Now, a lot of that was due to the defense being elite, but the offense was better in 2018 than any other year. Then, you plummet. 9 points less per game in 2019, 17.5. Again, slight uptick last year at 23, a decent number, 22nd in total in scoring offense, but then this year, down to 18 again. 2 of the 4 seasons, Matt Nagy's offense has averaged 18.5 points per game or less. That's just not going to do it, man. The offense peaked in year one, and that's a red flag. When you hire a coach and he's there for 4 or 5 years, and the best production you get is the first year you have him, what does that tell you? That tells you that teams adjusted to what you're doing, and you never counter-adjusted. That's what it tells me, and so at the end of the day, you add it up, he is out in Chicago. We'll talk about Ryan Pace in just a moment and take a look at maybe some candidates to replace Matt Nagy. But first, BetUS, chatsports.com/Bears. Go bet on the playoffs. It's fun. I'm still fired up for the playoffs, even though the Bears are not in it. Go to chatsports.com/Bears. Promo code BEARDOWN. Deposit $100. You get $125 for free. Go bet on the Chicago Bulls as well. I know they lost to the Mavs last night, that being Sunday night, but there is still money to be had all season long. NFL playoffs. National championship game tonight. If you're watching on Monday, go bet on Alabama money line. I think that's good value. Chatsports.com/Bears. Promo code BEARDOWN. You can slide in my DMs on Twitter or IG if you have any questions at HGramNFL. All right, let's talk about the GM now. Bears also fired GM Ryan Pace. He's been the GM since 2015. This was the one that I think was the tough decision for George McCaskey, because it's well documented that Ryan Pace and the McCaskey family have a really good relationship, and relationships matter in all businesses and all lines of work, and especially in the NFL. You have to trust and enjoy the people you work with, but at the end of the day, that note 3, that third one right there, one winning season since 2015, it's not going to cut it, man. And I think when it comes down to it, a lot of the fans in the media would have come on with a full court press if they had not fired Ryan Pace as well. It's a total reboot. It's a total reboot in Chicago in terms of front office and coaching. The point I want to make, though, while that side of it's a reboot, I don't think the roster is a total reboot. I think we could see some changes. I think maybe some veterans, especially on defense, maybe Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, could be traded for the right outcomes. But this isn't a total rebuild, if that makes sense. It's rebooting the coach, retooling the front office, and I think this can be a playoff team next year. You just had to get rid of Pace and Nagy, go in a new direction. This team needs fresh energy. And that's no offense to Nagy or Pace, but it had gotten stale, and now it's a total reboot and not a rebuild in Chicago. Are you happy that Ryan Pace was also fired? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm typing my Y for yes. He certainly did some good things. You see Darnell Mooney go for 126 yards in the final game this year, and you're like, man, that's a hell of a pick by Pace. That's good evaluating. 5th-round selection, you find Darnell Mooney, and he's got a 1,000-yard season in year 2. But at the end of the day, it was either move him to a different position within the organization or fire him, and they decided to fire him, which I think was probably the right move. All right, I do just have a loose, just some names out there of candidates that the Bears could consider as head coach. We also have the GM ones as well. I think it's in listicles. Trace. You got Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton. This is in no order, but those probably are my top 2 guys. Ryan Day's another name. Obviously, he worked with Justin Fields at Ohio State. I think he could be a candidate that the Bears consider. Doug Peterson. in there as well. I like Kellen Moore as a quarterback developer. We've seen that flourish with Dak Prescott in Dallas. Some other names on this list here. You got Bucs OC, Byron Leftwich, Brian Dable, the Bills offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels, I think, would be a pretty good option. Dan Quinn, Leslie Frazier. Let's go non-reveal here. Trace for the GM guys. But these are some of the coaching names to keep an eye on. Some GM names just to keep an eye out there. We did a video recently. Trace Armstrong, NFL agent. There's been some buzz out there. Louis Riddick, ESPN analyst. I know he wants back in the game. Rick Smith, Marvin Allen, Champ Kelly. We'll see what happens with Marvin Allen, by the way. They fired Brian Flores earlier today, so him being in the Dolphins org, we'll see if that changes things there. Some other guys, this is my list on a recent video we did. I could certainly retool the order. Will McClay in Dallas, Joe Schoen in Buffalo, Mike Borgonzi in Kansas City, and then Joe Ortiz and Ed Dodds in Baltimore and in Indianapolis. Those are a couple of guys. Bears can't afford to miss when it comes to GM and head coach. Can't happen. You got to get this right. You're at a crossroads in your franchise because you've got a quarterback that has the tools. Now, doesn't mean Fields is going to be the real deal, but I think he's got the physical and mental abilities to be that guy. It's up to this new GM and, most importantly, the coach to get the best out of him. And that was not going to be Pace and Nagy. It just wasn't. Kudos to them for drafting Fields, but that's what this is about. This move today, it's about Fields in a lot of the sense, so keep that in mind. Who should the Bears hire as head coach? Let me know down in the comments. And by the way, tomorrow, Tuesday, we will do a fresh list of Matt Nagy replacements. I just had a list out for you guys. Those are some names that could be on the list. We'll probably do a Pace replacements as well, either tomorrow or Wednesday. Stay tuned for that. Who should the Bears hire as head coach? I want to hear it from you guys down in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe because, hey, this is it, man. This is the time to get involved. Over 1,300 people watching live right now. Hit the big red button and subscribe today because the Bears offseason coverage, it's heating up, baby. It is heating up. Coaching search, GM search. I'm fired up. Free agency draft after that. It's going to be a fun offseason. Subscribe. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. All right, so the news of the day. Matt Nagy out after 4 seasons. Ryan Pace out as well. Both guys have been let go by the Chicago Bears. Appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us. And again, the search for both replacements starts now. Give me a follow on IG at HGramNFL. It's at HGramNFL. I'll have more news and updates over there. I'll probably do an IG Live at some point this week as well to talk even further about this. Give me a follow at HGramNFL on Instagram. That is where I'm going to keep you guys up to date with the latest surrounding Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace.